Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake. And today it is just me, guys. We are diving into a little topic about approval, which kind of feels deep. So I'm going to get my blanket as I always do, get a little cozy, get a little comfy. And I even brought my Bible for this one because I figured it would be kind of fun to dive into this topic. Honestly, I have been thinking quite a bit about this just over the last couple months. I had a reel that did really well on Instagram, which is so amazing. I think it's at 20 million views. It's definitely the most views I've ever gotten on a reel. So insane, right? And I've gotten so many new people within my community and new friends from it, which is really, really cool. But at the same time, there's a lot of hate. We got a lot of haters going on in the comments section, okay? And that is the most amount of hate that I've gotten online before. And I think I've definitely had hate, but it's been one off or a couple little videos here and there. And it's definitely not been the majority. It's been some people and then people agree with it, whatever. This one, it is just flooding the comments, okay? And these people are just saying things that they don't even know what they're talking about half the time. And a lot of the time they're also high schoolers, because I do gear towards a lot of high school seniors for some of my content because I shoot graduating seniors. And so they're high schoolers who, are just saying anything in the comment section. But these things are really weird to read when they're about yourself. And I don't know about you, but when you're engaging in videos, when you're just normally watching TikToks or whatever before bed, you're watching, I always want to go to the comment section just to see. But I feel my brain has kind of it's shifted the way that I'm looking at how people are in comments, I guess, and just how people are in general. And then with that too, Zach and I are starting a church, which is so exciting. And we are launching a campus of our current church in a different town of Charleston, and just such a cool opportunity. I'm so honored and humbled that we get to be a part of it. But it's also been interesting too, because Zach has been doing ads for it, and it's a weird thing. Zach's not on social media a lot, but it's his face. And, some people just are commenting on it and they're not kind comments, but we're putting our videos out there with our faces on it. And it's an invite to people's opinions, right? So we can't be mad when people are commenting on a video, their opinion, because that's what the comment section is for. It's to open it up to people's opinions. And that has been an interesting situation, I think, or just season to learn from, where I'm wow, okay, people can be mean. Which sounds terrible to say, but it's true. Sometimes people can be mean, and sometimes it's maybe because they've just had a hard day and they're venting in a way that is maybe not a healthy way to process, but that is the way that they're doing it. Or sometimes it's because they've been hurt by something that is showcased in the video or whatever it might be. But I have definitely been thinking a lot about how not everyone is going to like me. And if you're listening to this, then I have news for you. Not everyone is going to like you. But I think that even in that, we get an opportunity with how we personally are going to respond to that, how we are going to respond to backlash or to someone not liking our video and commenting something, or maybe sent off a gallery and the client doesn't like it. And we are going to have situations like that. How we respond to it matters. But also, I think how we serve people out of it and how we treat others matters as well. So I came up with some notes that I want to chat through about this, but it's definitely been a topic that's deeply personal to me that I've been walking through and kind of processing. So I just wanted to get kind of invite you guys into it, because I think it's something that we all deal with. So the episode title that I think I'm going to name this is Not Everyone Will Like You, Be a Light Anyway. So the first thing that I want to talk about is accepting rejection and criticism. And that sucks. But in life, in friendships, in our business, there's always going to be some form of rejection or of criticism or of hate. And it's just a part of life. As much as we want to avoid those things, we cannot avoid those things. We live in a broken world. And that is just part of it. Like there are going to be people that hurt us, whether it's a flippant comment or something actually deep that's going on. Either way, it's going to happen. But someone else's opinion should not define our value. And I think that is something that like we have to get behind when it's hate, of course, but also when it's praise. Because if we get our value from people who are praising our work or who we are or how we live or how we dress or how we do our makeup or fill in the blank for you, if we get our value and our validation from praise, then what happens when the praise is no longer there and the hate elevates? Well, then our value is defined by the hate, right? Because if there's no praise, then what's the only other thing in front of our face? It's the hate. We have to figure out how to find validity in ourselves outside of people's praise or hate, and therefore outside of people. Like we can't just like expect that our worth is going to stay the same if it's dependent on people's emotions, because people's emotions change all the time. Like I know mine do. I am a little bit cuckoo. Like my emotions change every day. Like I go from angry to happy to sad to excited. And I am like, my emotions are not stable because I am a human, right? But I need my worth and my identity to be stable, and therefore it can't be on people. So for me as a Christian, my identity needs to be rooted in God because He is the only thing that is stable. He's the only thing that is firm. He's the only thing that truly is not going to like waft back and forth between praise and hate at any time. So I love this verse. I wanted to read it. It's a verse in Galatians. It's Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. And it says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." And I love that because as followers of Jesus, that's like another term that we're known by, right? Like servants of Christ. And I love the guy who wrote this. His name is Paul. He wrote like a lot of the New Testament. And it's really cool because he used to be a murderer of Christians, like literally a straight up murderer. And he was a murderer of Christians. And then he met Jesus, and Jesus basically like stopped him in his tracks, and his whole life changed. Like people say people can't change, but like you look at Paul's life and it is so true because his whole life transformed. And then he became like one of the top leaders in the early church, and a big portion of to how the church spread is like the credit is due to Paul. And it's crazy because the title that Paul used a lot of the time, I want to say it's probably in every letter that Paul wrote to churches, which makes up a lot of the Bible, a lot of the New Testament. He begins that with introing himself. And when he intros himself, he uses the title, a servant of God. Like Paul is literally saying, like, yes, I'm a follower of Jesus, but I'm also like a servant. Like my life is his. My life is devoted to everything being about Jesus. And if everything is about Jesus, then it can be like a stable thing in our identity, but it also means people aren't going to like us. Like that's just true. Like not everyone even liked Jesus himself. There's a part in the book of Matthew, I think it's Matthew 21, is where Jesus is like walking through a crowd, and a couple days later he's going to die on the cross. But the crowd is like praising him. The crowd is like laying palm branches down, and he's like riding through on a donkey, and all of these people are saying like, "Hosanna to the Son of David, Hosanna in the highest, like glory to the Son of David," which basically just means like, we think you are the Messiah that we've been waiting for. We think you're the Son of God. Like we think that you are the Christ, the one we've been waiting for. And they're praising him. And then a couple days later, a crowd is also saying, "Crucify him. He needs to die." And that's Jesus. Literally, he's perfect. So if Jesus couldn't please everyone, I also can't please everyone. Like that's just the reality of things, right? But I think like it's helpful when we find our identity in him because he is stable, even when the crowd isn't, or the people around us, or people on social media, or whatever it might be. Like maybe you are in a relationship that feels rocky and unstable, and you never know how the person is going to respond to anything. Well, Jesus isn't like that. Jesus's love is stable. His love is strong. His love, you always know what you're going to get from him. Like he's waiting for us to come to him every morning. Like there's no question mark when it comes to the love of Jesus. And when our identity is found in him, it is sturdy and stable and strong because his love is for us. So I wanted to make sure to say that because I also love how that verse like points to servanthood. And like I said, like Paul defined himself as like a servant of God. And I think like it's important to remember that like we serve Jesus first, but also Jesus calls us to serve others, right? And I think that our content and being online and being a photographer and having clients is like the coolest way that we get to serve people. Like, obviously, yes, we should do the big things of service. Like, yes, we should try to feed the homeless, right? Like, yes, we should try to do things that, help the world and all that kind of stuff. Yes. But also, there's like these cool small ways where like we're photographers and we can glorify God with our businesses and with our brands and the way that we like talk to people and serve people. And that includes when people don't respond the way that maybe they should or the way that like we hope that they would. So yes, our first service is to God, and him we obviously ultimately live to please, but he also calls us to serve those people that I'm talking about. So one of the ways that I've been thinking about this a lot as I've been processing all of this is like, how do I serve people when they haven't responded well? And the way that I've really been thinking about this is that I think sometimes, whether anybody sees it or not, like the internal side of me, my first reaction is offense when I see that somebody maybe doesn't like their photos that I've sent off, or if they say something really mean in a comment section or whatever. Like my first reaction can often be like to be offended or to be like, well, they don't know the whole picture. Like, why would they feel that way about me? Like, I don't want anyone to not like me, And so I'll kind of question that. Or maybe it's like anger is the first response. Like, I don't know what it is for you. I'm just talking about myself. Like that can often be the first response. But I think like when we can find the ability to hold our tongue or hold our fingers if we're typing off for just a second and ask a question in response, that can a lot of the times result in a lot better of a conversation where we understand each other more, or that person maybe can back down a little bit from their own emotion that might be clouding their judgment or clouding the way that they're speaking to another human, especially if it's over social media. Sometimes they just forget that they're talking to a human that can see comments or whatever it is. And so I think like asking a question back kind of disarms your quote unquote opponent in some things. And yeah, I think like even just an example of this is like sometimes photographers can get really upset if somebody asks for the raw photos, even though like maybe in their contract it says no raws, as we should put in there, right? In our FAQ it says no raws, but then a client responds and they're like, hey, I was wondering if I could get the raws for this. Well, instead of being like, I can't believe they asked that, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we respond with, hey, that's not something that I typically do as outlined in our FAQ and our contract that we signed, but I'd love to know what it is that you're thinking about. Like, why are you desiring these raws? And when we ask that, it opens up conversation for us to understand how we can better serve our client. Maybe we respond right there by, yes, like this is something I want to do based on their response. Or maybe it's still a no, but we learn for in the future how to better communicate with our clients. And I know one time, this was a long time ago now, but one time I had a client who asked for raws and I was like, what the heck? No, And then when I responded with a question, it was really cool because what she was able to say back was, I actually was a little bit disappointed in the editing. And again, this was a long time ago now. And it was when I was really still trying to figure out my style. And I had edited her project in a way that wasn't consistent with what at the time I was showing on Instagram. Like I said, a long time ago, I was still very much figuring out my style. Now things are very consistent for me. But it totally made sense as to why she was asking for the raws, because she didn't really love the product that I'd given her. So I was like, okay, awesome. Thank you for letting me know. What is it that would serve you better? Would you like the raws, or would you rather me to re-edit these in the way that you expected them? And she was like, oh my gosh, I would love if you would edit them. Thank you so much. She just didn't know how to ask. Like, she didn't know what she needed to ask for. She just knew that raws might be an option, question mark. And I don't even know that she knew like what raws were, right? But it even goes back to like, if somebody's disappointed with their editing, what is it that they don't like about the editing? Like, can you pinpoint what is it that you're not loving about these photos, and maybe I can fix them for you? You know, like, going above and beyond by asking questions and getting clarity and have really good communication can help us in the long run to better serve people, but also to not feel so like uppity in our own ways. Because like, man, when I respond in anger first, like that is totally pride in me. And I don't want to be that. I want to be a light to people, right? Like that's what you said. Not everyone's going to like you or your work or whatever, but we need to choose to be a light anyway. And that comes from our response to things. And then I wanted to also talk about choosing kindness anyway. I think I already kind of like hit on that quite a bit. But one thing that I will say too is that people might not actually reciprocate the kindness. A lot of the time they will when you're kind, but like people might not. And that's okay. I think like setting up boundaries are really, really good, but not letting people cross them either. So like, say they don't respond in kindness, that's okay. You still need to respond in kindness, but you can be a little bit more firm in your kindness. Like there's, or if it's on social media, just simply not responding is also a great option. But I do think like there is a way to be kind yet firm and hold to your boundaries well and in a professional manner. Sometimes as creatives, we have these jobs that are awesome where we get to be our own boss. But because of that, we don't have a standard of professionalism. And then our clients, if they have upset us, they get the brunt of our emotions, right? We don't want to do that. We want to appear professional in all ways. And that's a way that we can serve not only our clients, but serve our own business as well. Yeah. And then the last thing that I wanted to say was like, keep showing up authentically, because just because somebody doesn't like something that you do doesn't mean that the whole world hates you immediately and doesn't like you and doesn't like your work and that you're not talented. Like, no, it's one person. Or in my case, for the reel that I made that had like so many views, the comment section is kind of rude, right? But like the amount of people that commented on the video versus the amount of people that viewed the video, the amount of people that liked the video, the amount of followers that I've gotten from the video, the good outweighs the bad on that one. So like, stop being in my head so much about it, you know? Like I need to stop that. But the thing is like, if we're getting our approval from them, then like we'll really like drown in it, you know? But that would be doing like to stop posting or to stop taking pictures or to stop, you know, fill in the blank, whatever it is. This could be like a business conversation or just a life conversation, but like to stop that would be a disservice to the people who love us around us, because there's so many people that love you. There's so many people that like adore you in your life. There are friends that love you in your life. There are family members that love you in your life. And if you just like allow yourself to wallow in hurt in your mind or bitterness even, or anger, or whatever it is, then like, and then you stop showing up, people are going to be so sad that you're not there. Like people are going to be so sad that your voice isn't heard and that your face isn't seen and that they can't hug you, you know, if it's in person or whatever. But like, still show up even through people being rude, still show up because you are wanted and you are loved. And I think that God wants you to be known by people. Like I said, though, that doesn't mean that you have to cross your boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to continue to allow yourself to be hurt in relationships. But again, I think the way we respond to those things matters. Yeah, I feel like I'm just like yapping at this point, but like I just wanted to come on here and kind of process that out loud with you guys. I think, again, that verse is such an amazing verse to go back to about pleasing man. You know what? I'll read it again. Am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. Yeah, we are not called to please men. We are called to be servants of Christ. And sometimes that's really hard, and it means making hard decisions. And it means talking about things that maybe like a lot of people online don't talk about, or whatever it might be. And sometimes it means biting our tongue and not responding the way that you really want to respond. And sometimes it's kind of the flip side. Like maybe you're listening to this and you are the person who comments mean things. And maybe you don't even realize it, but like think about the way that we need to think about the way that we say things. Like we need to think about, okay, after a hard day, am I going online to specifically like be rude in people's comments? Like, if that is the case, maybe we need to check ourselves. We need to think about ourselves a little bit and kind of ask God to search us. Like, is there any part of us that needs to change that isn't being encouraging to the people around us? Because like, just because you're online doesn't mean you don't represent Christ. If you follow Jesus, then like you represent him everywhere you go, whether your name is on it or not. Right? Or whether it's your face in the profile picture, especially if it is, right? But like everywhere we go, everything we do should represent Jesus's love for others, because otherwise it's just hypocrisy. And it's something in our lives that I really believe that he would want to change, because we are supposed to be the light of the world. Like we're supposed to be the things that people can look at and be like, man, I knew that Jesus loved me because of how that person treated me. And maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not a Christian and I know some Christians and they're kind of rude. Like they're kind of mean. They are not the light of the world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you know people who say that they represent Christ and don't represent him well. But B, as much as God wants to use his people and desires for them to look more like him, we are human and we're people who make mistakes and get to decide how we live. So I hope that if you're listening to this and that's the bucket that you fall into, that despite how people have misrepresented Christ, you would maybe feel a holy curiosity towards the things of him, and that you would do something this week even that maybe discovers more of him and more of his love for you, because he does love you and he sees you even when you don't feel like you're seen by people. And yeah, again, at this point, I'm just yapping, but I wanted to process that. I've been processing it over the last like couple months, and I just feel like it was something I haven't really shared online. So wanted to share that with you guys, because we are a great community that gets to talk about these things. If you feel like you've been dealing with this too, or processing it, or this was like an episode that maybe just sparked conversation for you and you want to yap more about it with me, I would love to talk with you more about it. If you want to go follow me at Alex Blake Photo on Instagram, and you can message me. I would love to talk with you more specifically about this, and let me know if I missed anything that I didn't talk about in this, because like I said, it's something that I'm like real time processing. So I'm just talking about what I've learned, but I'm sure that you guys have learned so much that you can also share with me. So yeah, I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.